You're watching the Fantasy Rankings Report only on Fantasy Now Plus. Hello and welcome into the Fantasy Rankings Report. My name is Topher Kurt, but you can call me Topher. On this show, we compare running back and wide receiver rankings from 8 different fantasy football companies. And I focus on wide receivers. And my co-host, who is coming to the stage now, Michael Flores, is our running back expert. How are we doing today, Michael?
Fantastic. How you doing?
I'm doing well. Just had my first day of school, so going back to school, and I'm not a student, I'm a teacher. And it is also my husband's birthday, and it was also his first day of school in a different district. So
awesome. Happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday to him. He is making dinner on his birthday because I'm a great husband. Okay. So just want to mention that the show is brought to you by Fantasy Now Plus, the website that we're for, and Finn's Talk Sports Network. Make sure you subscribe to both of those things in our description. The links are down there. You can check out, especially with Fantasy Now Plus, you can check out rankings, up-to-date rankings articles, plenty of shows for almost every single day of the week. I think, yes, we have shows every single day of the week. Justin, he makes dinner on his birthday. It's probably like Stouffer's microwavable mac and cheese or something. Sup, Janie? Welcome to the show. Jamie and I do a show Sunday mornings through goingfor2.com with our buddy Kyle Senra. And we do, sit, start, who should you do, last minute things. We have a ranking question of the day, and Michael is leading that. So I will let you do that, good sir.
Yeah, absolutely. So just trying to think, what can we do to open this show up? I wanted to play a game. So I got a little game for you, and it's basically just higher or lower. I'm going to give you 4 running backs. You're going to have to figure out whether or not they dropped in the rankings or rose in the rankings since our show last week.
Okay.
Cool. So we did have about 19 guys in our top 72 that did not move at all. So
yep,
it's a good amount. Makes sense. Week 1 of preseason. First guy, Taj Brooks, currently 3rd on the Bengals depth chart. He did play week 1 of the preseason, had 10 carries for 26 yards.
I think he went up because I think since our last show wasn't Zach Moss cut. So I think within that past week, he's had to go up.
Okay. So he actually dropped 11 spots.
What?
He went from 62 to 73, and Fantasy Now as a company has him at 56.
Wow.
Yeah, so he does look good on our end, but the 7 other companies we look at, they are not high on him, and he went down drastically.
Wow. Look at that.
All right, second guy, Sean Tucker, currently also 3rd on Tampa Bay's depth chart right now. He did play this week 1, 13 carries for 50 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, Sean Tucker went up because Rachaad White got hurt, and we saw Sean Tucker have one incredible game last season where he was, running back 1 or 2 on the week, and then he didn't do anything else. So, but we know he's capable of it, so he's definitely shot up.
He did. So he went up 9 spots. He went from 79 to 70, which finally cracked top 72. So
yes.
Cool. But he didn't crack our top 72. We're the only ones that did not have him up there on that list. But he did rise 9 spots despite that.
There you go.
All right, third pick. All right, third player. Quinshon Judkins. 2nd on Cleveland's depth chart. Did not play preseason week 1.
Oh, he's dropping like a brick. He just is going lower and lower and lower. And until we know what, the horrible off the field situation that he has seemed to put himself in. I'm not blaming anyone yet because I don't know anything beyond what we all generally know. But it's not a good look, especially without having a contract signed first. Kind of shot himself in the foot, pulled a Plexico burst, if you will.
Yeah. So he did drop, and he dropped 7 spots. He went from 43 to 50. Right here we have him at 46. So on the bottom end of that range, but he also did drop.
Yeah.
I got one more for you. Rico Dowdle, currently second, now with Carolina. Mm-hmm. He did play preseason week 1, 3 carries, 7 yards, but he also had 1 reception for 20 yards.
I don't think there would have been much movement, but he was brought up, and all these guys have had some major movement. If he's had any movement, it's gonna be up. There hasn't been any negative reports out there, and nobody behind him, like Trevor Etienne, isn't passing him. So I think if Rico made any movement, it was up.
All right, I tried throwing a curveball. He didn't move at all. So you were pretty spot on.
That was good. I like it.
Yeah, so he stayed at 54. Actually, we have him pretty high. We have him at 45. But yeah, he stayed put.
I love that. Okay. Before diving into the meat of the show, I have to show this comment. Jamie Perogue finally watched the movie Wicked yesterday. I saw it when it came out in theaters, and it was a truly religious experience. I cried multiple times, and I am so jaded from life and from being an educator that I don't really feel emotions in the way that I should. So I emotionally stifled. That's the word I'm looking for. So I came on and I was like, everybody needs to go watch this now back in, November. So why not just finally watch it for the first time in August? Jamie, I am so proud of you.
I saw the play live. I did see that. I did go see that. It was awesome. I've not seen the movie yet.
This is the most disgraceful comment that I've ever received in my entire life. And if you go on my TikTok and you watch some videos about what I've dealt with as a teacher before, that will speak very highly. Justin said, don't cancel me. I won't. You've done it to yourself. Okay. Before we get into this, I want to show you our process. I want to show you what is actually happening here. So this is what we do. We take, I made that a little smaller. Let's make that. Okay. So right here, what I do is, there we go. I do, and what Michael does is we go through, we find the rankings from these 8 websites: CBS, Fantasy Footballers, Fantasy Now Plus, Fantasy Pros going for 2, Roto Baller, NFL, and Yahoo. We go through, find their rankings, and come out with the average of their ranking, the mode of it, what's their highest ranking, lowest ranking, and what's the range. So when you're looking at somebody like Chase Brown, he's running back 11, but his range is 8 through 14. Some people are considering him a very solid running back 1. Some people are considering him a upper running back 2. That makes a difference. As you continue to go down and look through this data, you're going to see larger ranges. Like if you look in our running back 4 kind of area right here, most of these are double-digit ranges because you're going to get more variety the larger you go down. So that is what we are working with on that. Bringing it back to us together. So safe and steady. Steady and safe. I can't even read my own words. This is part of the show where we highlight 3 players from our positions of expertise that consensus agrees on. So just looking at where are these ranges low? Where are these players that people are very consistent no matter where you're looking?
Yeah, absolutely. My for my guys this week, I kind of stayed a little packed together, if that makes sense. They're very right around the RB3 range. Um, they're all pretty consistent, but they go pretty hard. My first guy, this is going to be an interesting one. I got RJ Harvey. So he's right around running back 21 through 27 right now. That is a little bit of movement, but we have him at the lower end on 27. Overall, he's running back 24. But the thing is, he's battling with Dobbins for RB1 on the depth chart. And Dobbins is lower ranked than him in almost every single company that's been ranking him. Right now he's at 35, we have him at 34, while Harvey is sitting nicely at 24. That's a 10 spot difference to be a backup. That to me is just showing that it's just a matter of time before he actually takes over that job as well.
Oh, absolutely. I think they drafted him in the second round for a reason. They signed J.K. Dobbins much later. Like, he was not like let's sign J.K. and then draft this guy. No. R.J. Harvey's their plan. And then they just saw a talented guy sitting out there and be like, hey, we can get him in our game plan too. My wide receiver that I want to talk about first is Jakobi Meyers. I think Jakobi Meyers is one of the most consistent fantasy football assets that we've got out there in my wide receiver 3 sort of tier. So wide receivers 25 through 36. He's ranked wide receiver 36, but he's got the smallest range of 7 between 34 and 41. Last year, I found this stat out. Was it one? I want to say it was either 1 or 2 teams that had more than one 1,000-yard receiver on their teams last year.
Wow.
Las Vegas Raiders was one of the 2 teams, or they were the only one. I can't remember specifically, but I know Raiders were one of 2 or one of 1. And that was because of Jakobi Meyers and Brock Bowers. Consistent as all get out. And it's I think Jakobi is somebody that across the board you're going to want, and the consensus is there between the experts.
Awesome. I like that. Yeah, that's going to be an interesting team to watch this year. So I'm interested to see what their wide receivers are actually going to do. All right, so for my next guy, I took Caleb Johnson. I don't know, lately I've been on a rookie kick for some reason, especially in the running back category, but all these rookies coming in, I'm very much interested in. Caleb Johnson, I played with nonstop on NCAA 25. I loved him. I loved playing with him. It was great. But he's sitting right about running back 24 to 30. We have him at 29. Overall, just the 27 at the moment. But he's sitting, another guy sitting behind Warren, who, again, is lower, even though he's currently listed as first on the depth chart. Right now, he's at a running back 31. We have him at 32. Not as much of a difference as the Harvey Dobbins move, but it's still a difference. And he is coming off of 149 carries in 2020, or he's coming off 149 carries 2 years ago. But that was when he had Najee Harris. Is he going to get a lot of these touches now? I'm going to go with no. It's going to be a split back, just how they did it last year. And Caleb Johnson is probably going to get a significant amount of those touches. I don't know if it's going to be 50-50, but I think it's going to be fairly close to where Caleb Johnson is going to be steady and safe for probably a good portion of the season.
I love that. I grew up an hour, 15 minutes north of Iowa City. I'm an Iowa Hawkeyes fan through and through. Love me some Caleb Johnson, not just because he's an Iowa Hawkeye, but obviously there's some favoritism sprinkled into there. I will tell you that I am the highest ranked on him from Fantasy Now Plus, and I have him at running back 19. But I think we talked about it on last week's episode. Rookies are perpetually slept on right now. There used to be a time where you'd see rookie running backs and you'd go, okay, I'm going to snatch all these guys. That's not the case right now. You've got a couple that you're doing, but Caleb Johnson came into a perfect spot for his gameplay, for what he can do. I like it. Next wide receiver for me is Khalil Shakir of the Buffalo Bills. I had him last year on my championship winning dynasty league. I still have him. Whoop whoop. Humble brag. And he's right now ranked wide receiver 45 on our consensus rankings with a high of 38 and a low of 49, a range of 11. But a lot of these rankings are 44, 46, 46, 47, 46, like low end wide receiver 4. And he was about, I want to say wide receiver 40 or something last year. It's a very consistent place for him. He's going to give you consistent points week in and week out. Consensus shows that he's going to be a steady and safe player for you to take. Who's your third one?
I like it. So my last one is we got Brian Robinson. He's sitting at about 28, 31. Excuse me. We have him at a 28, overall 29 right now. He's just consistent. I mean, you want to talk about safe and steady. He's as consistent as they come with as a running back right now. So his first 3 years, his carries, he had 205, 178, 187. And then as far as actually the more important part, the yardage, 797, 733, 799. You know pretty much what you're going to get from him. Could it be higher? Absolutely. But you're going to consistently get close to a 800-yard season and about 200 carries. So if you want consistent, I mean, that's pretty much where you go. You can get them, no problem, later on. And you can stash them on your bench if you need to. I mean, that's the guy that is consistency to the key.
Yeah, he feels like a very safe flex play, or like that guy that you know that whenever I have a bye week, I will still be good. Yeah, I like that.
Absolutely.
My last one is wide receiver 72 in my rankings, which is Alec Pierce. 72 amongst consensus, which you might be like, why are you talking about wide receiver 72? He has a range of 5. A range of 5 right there. With a range high of 63 and a low, high of 68, low of 73. However, do you know what he did last year? I don't think people talk about this enough. He last year, let me pull it up so I have the exact right thing. He last year had 824 yards and 7 touchdowns.
That's a pretty good wide receiver 72.
Yeah. The biggest thing, which probably won't change with him, is that he is very low targets and receptions. So he had 69 targets, nice, and 37 receptions. Now let's compare him to Keenan Allen, who was wide receiver 35 on the season last year. Pierce, wide receiver 39. Keenan Allen had 70 receptions, 744 yards, and 7 touchdowns. So Pierce had more yards, same touchdowns, but 30 plus less receptions. If you're playing in a league that receptions don't matter as much, he needs to go up your rankings. Alec Pierce is definitely a flyer play, but if he's putting that output at wide receiver 72, run with that. And the experts are all in consensus, and I am much higher on him than that. So that's my little hot take with it, is that Alec Pierce is a little low for us. Okay, that was Steady and Safe, brought to you by nothing, because we don't have sponsors yet. It's probably because Justin didn't like the musical Wicked. So,
Yeah, they're staying away now.
Yep, exactly. Also, Jamie asked if I've seen the sequel to Wicked yet. It doesn't come out until Thanksgiving. Ugh. People. Okay, so the main chunk of our show is called Experts Against Experts. This part of the show is where we highlight 5 players in our positions of expertise that discuss consensus that we discuss based off of what the consensus disagrees on. We'll talk about one of them from each tier. For example, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, 3, so on and so forth. Also something I'm working on. I listened to our show last week and noticed myself saying and yeah, so frequently. I'm working on stopping that. I heard myself do it right there and wanted to throw something at me, but I'm not going to. Too much effort. Today, my wide receiver 1 tier wide receiver I want to talk about is Ladd McConkey. Ladd McConkey, from week 8 on last year, averaged the 11th most points for a wide receiver. That was more than fellow rookies BTJ, Malik Neighbors, along with big names such as A.J. Brown and Drake London, all whom are being ranked and taken ahead of him. I find that crazy that Ladd, yes, he's wide receiver 11 last year. Over the last 11 weeks of the season, he was ranked 11th. That's where he's being drafted, but he is outscoring some of these dudes that are being drafted ahead of him. 4 out of our 8 rankings sources rank him lower than wide receiver 1, while ranking the following players above him: Jackson Smith and Njigba, Tyreek Hill, Marvin Harrison Jr., and Devontae Adams. Those are 4 wide receivers that I am not putting ahead of Ladd McConkey, even though there are experts that are saying do that. So that's something where you go, hey, I see the fantasy footballers are higher on Marvin Harrison by a few spots than they are Ladd McConkey. I know my league loves themselves some fantasy footballers. If I'm on the 2-3 turn or somewhere, wherever it is, I'm so used to playing best ball right now. But where can I possibly go? Hey, what if I could get Ladd on the turnaround? Let somebody else take Marvin Harrison, take JSN, take Tyreek Hill, and I get Ladd on the backside while still taking AJ Brown and a Drake London right before that. Like, that's what you have to consider with these rankings. Also, besides Quentin Johnson and tight end Will Disley, the entire skill position group around him will be different than last year. Everything. Running backs, wide receivers, the rest of the tight ends. Keenan Allen's coming back. We just found this out. But the team completely trusts Ladd McConkey as their wide receiver 1, no matter what they do with Keenan Allen. I think that Ladd McConkey, I think he's very well placed at wide receiver 11. But he's got some, haters up in the business. And he's got a range of 10, range of 5, high of 10, low of 15. So there we go. There's your Ladd McConkey info.
I like it, especially because I do have Ladd in my Dynasty League who did help me go on a run last year, but fortunately didn't win it. But he was a major part of letting me get as far as I did.
Absolutely.
So, excuse me. Running back 1 tier. I went another rookie, Ashton James here. Our running back 1 tier actually did not move at all this week. From week to week, they stayed 1 through 12 as they did last week.
Nice.
He's currently listed as a 7. Obviously, we know he got drafted by the Raiders. 4 to 9 is where he's sitting right now. We have him on that low end. We have him at the 9. There's a lot of people that are very high on him, which, of course, I mean, he was a freak in college. It was basically who's going to get him, who's going to trade up to be able to grab him.
Yeah.
There is at least 4 or 5 teams I think I remember hearing was talking up until he got picked. So it's going to be interesting on where they find him. He's already a running back 1 before taking his first snap in the regular season. Does it transfer to the NFL? That's going to be the real question. You mentioned Myers earlier. He did have 129 targets and 89 catches last year. But then that's it for at least wide receivers. Obviously, they have the best tight end right now. Bowers is just absolutely killing it. He looked great last year. But between after those two guys, there's no one to really, I don't think, do a whole lot. Their next best receiver is Trey Tucker, 81 targets, 47 catches last year. It's going to be a heavy run, I think. And whether or not Jainsey gets a lot of those yards on a yards per average on each carry, or average yards per carry, but he's going to get the ball a lot. And I think going with him early on, I don't think you're going to end up losing that battle. It's basically just going to be Jainsey eats with that team this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think it's really hard to go with Genty because you have such a stellar, like, top tier running back group right now. It's not like you're sitting there and going, here are my top 4 running backs, then it falls off. Mm-hmm. There's tiers, but there's not anything that you go, oh, I have to take Genty at 4. You can. It could pan out very well for you. So yeah, that's a tough one. Wide receiver 2 tier for me is Xavier Worthy at wide receiver 24. He has a largely dynamic range. His high is wide receiver 17. His low is wide receiver 33. That's a range of 16 right there. 16 different spots between that. That's a big, that's rounds. That's not just like beginning of the round, end of the round. That could be 2, 3, maybe 4 rounds, depending on what kind of league you're playing in, at a very extreme level for the 4th round. He was the only wide receiver last year to score more than 1 rushing touchdown. Any other receivers that ran only scored 1 touchdown. So that's part of Xavier Worthy's charm, is that he has this backdoor ability that the Chiefs are clearly utilizing. We saw it in week 1, I think, was it last year, where he just, boom, and everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is a guy. I want to compare a couple player stats for you. This is simply receiving stats. Player A, 98 targets, 59 receptions, 638 yards, 6 receiving touchdowns, 10.8 yards per reception. Player B, 91 targets, 58 receptions, 1,001 yards receiving, 7 receiving touchdowns, 17.3 yards per reception. So they were 1 reception off from each other. However, their receiving yards was close to 370 yards difference. Very close on touchdowns, and the yards per reception was 6.5 different. Are you taking player A, player B?
Ideally, I'd take B. I mean, you're getting all those yards, you're getting the touchdown, one extra or whatever it was. I mean, you're getting more for less.
Oh, absolutely. That was Jameson Williams versus Xavier Worthy. Jameson Williams, player B. Xavier Worthy, player A. Jameson Williams is being taken later than Xavier Worthy. Jameson Williams was also a running back that received scored a rushing touchdown last year. So JMO has that same ability, but they also have Sonic and Knuckles, so they're not going to utilize it as much. Xavier Worthy, last thing with him. Rashee Rice last year had 75 plus yards in the 3 games he played. Worthy, this huge downfield threat that everybody's talking about. Oh, he's going to, stretch the field. He's going to do this. He only had 1 game of 75 or more yards. Most of his games were in the 40-yard range. If he doesn't score, and he's not getting a boatload of targets, and he's not catching the ball like, 10 times a game, you're walking out with 4 receptions for 40 yards and a wide receiver 2. Mm-hmm. I'm staying away from that. I'm going with the range of 33. I'm going a little bit more that range.
Interesting. I do have him in a couple leagues, unfortunately, because I did buy into the hype when I saw him run, and I was like, oh, guy's kind of fast.
I came into this going, you know what? I see that range. I'm going to prove Xavier Worthy's worthy of the pick. No, the stats, the data are telling me absolutely not.
Yeah, that's rough. Okay, so my running back 2, I went with the guy who I felt like has been in the league for quite a while. He's only 30, but also 30 in running back years. So it's Alvin Kamara. We have him he's listed overall 17. We have him at 11, but his range is 11 to 22. He is absolutely all over the place. So last year, he had the most career rushing yards. So it was his most since 2020. He had 932 in 2020, 950 this past season. 2020 was also when he had the most touchdowns in his career, which was massive amount, 16. Amazing year. This past year, or this past 5, actually, I think he's had 17 since 2020. So that 1 year between that he had his career high of 16, he basically had one more over the next 5 years combined. The touchdowns just really aren't happening as much on the rushing side, which has been really interesting, because I feel like he's always performing. He's always doing something. Or maybe it's just when I'm paying attention to the week, he's doing something. But the thing is that he also had the most receiving targets last year since 2020. He was the most targeted running back, and he was second in receptions. And the thing is, who's the Saints quarterback this year? Is it going to be Spencer Rattler? Is it going to be Tyler Shuck? Which, by the way, I just realized how to say his name today.
It doesn't look like it. Like as a choir guy, somebody that has literally studied how to pronounce things. No, it doesn't make any sense to me.
No, I was over here saying Tyler Show, and nope, I'm not even close. But that's the thing. Who's going to be the guy throwing the ball this year? Can he even throw? Again, maybe here comes Kamara to take over once again. This may be an even better year than last year. He could possibly come back to his 2020 year. Now, granted, he's not going to get the 16 touchdowns probably, but I think he's going to be fine.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's I love Kamara. I think that he's a steal for where he is. I think part of the reason why he's ranked high is because of me. I will take full credit. Oh, there's 3 of us that have him at running back 11 on our rankings for Fantasy Now Plus. That makes sense. Okay, my wide receiver 3 tier is Jameson Williams. That's why I compared his stats with Xavier Worthy earlier. He's at the top of that tier, wide receiver 26, so he's one off from being at the very top. He's an extremely talented wide receiver. Sometimes you have to just go, there's raw talent there. He tore his ACL in the national championship game in 2022, and the Lions still took him 12th overall in the 2023 draft, full well knowing that he would not be ready to go. He played, I think he had one game where he actually caught something in his rookie year, and that was it. He had a couple targets in games here and there, and that was it. Last year, 3 of his top 6 performances happened when Amon-Ra St. Brown struggled to get above 50 yards. So if Amon-Ra struggled, which doesn't happen often, J-Mo he's more prone to do that. It's kind of half the time you have to hope that ARSB kind of chucks it. From week 10 on, he had 5 performances below 65 yards. And he had 4 with 75 or more. So he is definitely and with that 65, a lot of it was in the 30s. So he is definitely, he's pretty much going to get you 30 or 80 plus. The scary thing about him, and I don't remember who tweeted this. I saw it and I thought I remembered who it was, and I don't remember. I scoured for like 15 minutes looking for it. Jameson Williams has only had one NFL game with more than 5 receptions in his entire NFL career.
Wow.
He only has one game with more than 5 receptions. And that was week 18 last year. So it didn't even help you in fantasy terms at all. So fantasy relevant games, he has not had more than 5 receptions in a game. When you're looking around that range, there's going to be guys that have better outcomes than that, you know? So Jameson Williams, I love him much more in a best ball league because you're going to be able to capture those. Oh my gosh, look at these boom weeks and not have to deal with the heartache of the bust weeks. I've got him on my dynasty team right now. I am concerned. He's also my wide receiver 3 behind Puka and BTJ. So I have some comfort going. Okay, I've got 2 steadies. I can make my wide receiver 3 this boom or bust kind of guy. Not everybody has that fortitude. I would much rather in that range take a Zay Flowers, take a McMillan, take a Ridley. Those are guys that I would take that are ranked in that same area. I would take them above him if I don't have solid, steady and safe wide receivers above him.
Love it. All right. So running back 3 tier, I went Joe Mixon. He's running back 28. He's sitting right at the 20 to 33 range. It is kind of drastic. We have him at 25, so kind of in that middle area. He's hurt right now. He's got a foot and ankle issue. To what extent? I don't even think the Texans know, to be honest. They're currently saying he might miss an extended period of time. They're not going to reevaluate him until the season's closer. So what does that mean as far as taking a risk on him? At 28, at running back 28, there are so many other options you could be looking at. At this point, he's taken kind of a step back from his previous years, and that's not really saying a whole lot. If I'm being honest, he surpassed 200 carries twice only in his 8-year career. That was his. He has not surpassed 200 carries only twice in his 8-year career. I'm sorry, and that was his rookie year and the year he got injured in 2020. So if he stays healthy, you can get a lot out of him. But the thing is, he's already hurt. Season hasn't started. That rookie year or that 2020 year, he was hurt. He played in 6 games and still had 119 carries on 814 yards. And there's only 1 of 3 years he hasn't surpassed 1,000 yards rushing. So he's pretty consistent on what he's doing. I misspoke just earlier saying that it wasn't much. I was more so speaking about the injury year. That was still not much being able to be played, but still producing quite a bit in only 6 games. Now, if he does play, you can probably expect him to get close to that 1,000 yards rushing again. I'm a little more concerned with that injury as a running back after playing for 8 years. Obviously, you need to be explosive. Foot, ankle, that's going to hurt you quite a bit.
Yeah.
I'm hoping he gets healthy at some point, but if he doesn't, that running back 20 is going to drastically drop.
Oh, absolutely. And you can't be super happy about, Chubb's in that kind of same situation coming back, and what goes on from there. Woody Marks, like, you might have this random rookie breakout from him, but Joe Mixon is the clear front runner if he's healthy and he can heal from this. So, yeah. I like that. I like that information. Wide receiver 4 tier, Deebo Samuel here. Last year, everybody I feel like came away from last year going, Deebo Samuel had a rough year. Deebo Samuel did not have a good year. He played 14 games. In his first 6 of 7 games, he had at least 50 receiving yards. That's not like, it's not amazing, but he had definitely games over 80, that multiple. Like, he's producing very well. Then he had a streak of 6 out of 7 games with under 23 receiving yards and under 20 rushing yards combined in those games. He never had a game more than, I believe it was, he had one game where he had a total of more than 40 total yards.
Wow.
Disgusting. Gross. He's apparently lost weight, and he's taking full advantage in camp of Terry McLaurin's absence, and him and Jaden Daniels are forming a connection, and that's what you want. There's also not much competition for that wide receiver 2 spot. Noah Brown had a couple of games that he popped off last year. Luke McCaffrey I would love him to be more than just a name, but he's got the name of his brother, and that's it. Unfortunately, I'd love to see more. Deebo Samuel, though, is different. He's built different. He plays different. Talking about Xavier Worthy and Jamison Williams earlier having rushing opportunities, Deebo Samuel over the past 4 years has averaged 45 rush attempts per season. Again, Commanders, no consistent wide receiver 2. There's no gadgety player like Deebo. Deebo's only 29. And in running back talk, that's kind of old. But in wide receiver, he's got a couple more years. He could spring back. He's not going to spring back to when he was wide receiver 2, like second or third year of his career. But if we meld together departed wide receivers, Olamide Zaccheaus and Diami Brown's stats from last year, them combined had 75 receptions, 814 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Deebo Samuel, in his 2023 season, 60 receptions, 892 receiving yards, and 7 receiving touchdowns. I'm not counting rushing in any of that, but he was ranked wide receiver 12 because of his rushing. So Deebo Samuel does not have to overperform in the receiving column compared to what he did last year. Last year he had 9 less receptions than the year before, 220 less yards, 4 touchdowns less when it came to receiving. He had 4 touchdowns less when it came to rushing as well, but he had more attempts and he only had 90 yards less rushing. And the 49ers were a mess last year. Commanders hopefully won't be a mess this year. They shouldn't be. So I think Deebo Samuel is somebody that you're not going to – he's not probably going to be like a breakout league winner, but he has potential to break out a lot more than wide receiver 43. I'm looking at wide receiver 43 right here. He's in a same tier with Michael Pitt and Cooper Kupp and Stephon Diggs. Those are both players above and below. I'm taking Deebo Samuel above all of them. There's some other players in his tier that I'm not taking above him. I like Ricky Pearsall more. I like Jordan Addison post-suspension more. I like Emeka Egbuka more. That's my thought. I think he's a good fit in that wide receiver 4 tier. And I would take him there. I would take him maybe even a little higher than consensus 43.
Yeah, I like to hammer home more so with baseball, but I feel like this fits fine and with Deebo. The change of scenery, I feel like, is going to be a blessing for him. I don't know what was going on in San Francisco. It didn't seem great. He kept saying how he wanted out. Now he is. This is his time to really show it off. So I do like that. So my running back 4 tier, I went Rachaad White. You mentioned him earlier. He's currently sitting at running back 42. His range, though, is from 36 to 61.
What?
That's absolutely drastic. Now, don't get me wrong. He did take a step back from his big 2023 season where he had 990 yards, 272 carries, 64 receptions, 549 yards. He looked great that year. He has taken a huge step back. He ended up having only 613 rushing yards. He was 31st in rushing yards with 613, 53 in yards per attempt, only had 3 touchdowns. As far as receptions go, he was 8th in receptions, 9th in targets, 8th in yards for running back. So he was catching that ball, and he was tied in first with touchdowns. He had 6, which was double from the previous year. So he's catching that ball. I'm a little worried about what he's going to do at his actual job, which is running with the ball. But you can pretty much count on him that he's going to get looks at least when the ball is in the air. So I like the idea of Rachaad White receiver. If you need someone there to be able to just put in and you can get some points. But as far as running back goes, if he can't go back to that 2023 season, that guy's just going to be catching.
I'm with you there. I agree. And think about that. He had opportunity in that he was getting targets with Mike Evans, with Chris Godwin, with Bucky Irving, with Jalen McMillan, with Cade Otton, and now they have Egbuka as well. And he's still probably going to be integrated into that game. Like, it's going to be pretty impressive. And somebody, Fantasy Dog right here, said Tucker might pass him at running back. That could be a very big possibility. We saw him explode like we talked about earlier. And Rachaad White is dealing with an injury. And that always spooks people. That always gets people going. So that could be a case. I think that they have found something that really works with him with catching out of the backfield. I think that they'll run with it because why not? Why not have that side option that's going to do really well when your downfield is littered with amazing talent. My wide receiver 5 tier is somebody that was not even ranked that same way last week. He has shown up hardcore in the rankings lately because he just got signed. Keenan Allen, wide receiver 55. Was he amazing last year? Absolutely not. Was he awful in the first half of the year? Absolutely. His first 8 weeks, he never broke 45 yards in a game. He scored twice in one game, and that was it. So 7 of the 8 games he played last season, he had 45 or less yards with no scores. That's ugh. No, that gives me the heebie-jeebies. However, did he give you a reasonable second half of the season? Yes. Weeks 12 through 17, 4 of his 6 games, he was above 70 receiving yards, and he had 5 receiving touchdowns in those 6 weeks. He doesn't have to build a rapport with Herbert the same way that he had to build a rapport with rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. You saw Caleb develop, and then you got to see Keenan Allen develop with that rapport. Keenan Allen was wide receiver 8 overall in 2023. We're just 2 seasons removed from him being a wide receiver 1. Am I saying he's going to be a wide receiver 1? Absolutely not. I've already touched on Lad McConkey earlier. But I'm playing this game a lot today. Who would you rather draft? This player or Keenan Allen? Christian Kirk of the Houston Texans or Keenan Allen?
Oh, just thinking about it without looking at anything, I'd probably go Keenan Allen because Christian Kirk has burned me multiple times.
Yep. Rashad Bateman or Keenan Allen.
I'm probably going to go Keenan Allen again. Bateman, I don't know where he's going to land with that team on how he's going to be targeted.
Yeah. Bateman as well. Last year was a very much an outlier year. He had 9 touchdowns last year in his 4th season. The previous 3 years combined, 4. Very much an outlier year for him. Zay Flowers only had 4 touchdowns last year. I expect those numbers to trade or even like to even out. Adam Thielen or Keenan Allen, both 33, 34-year-old people. Who are you doing?
Where is Thielen now? Is he a Panther?
He's still in Carolina.
Okay. Yeah, I'm going Keenan Allen then.
Cooper Kupp or Keenan Allen, right? Right? Cooper Kupp is ranked up at 45, 46. Are you taking him or Keenan Allen? It's tough.
Yeah, man, I still like Kupp. I still want to think he's going to do something again.
Yeah.
Yeah, gonna have to go Keenan Allen again, I guess.
Right? And Jamie asked Cedric Tillman or Keenan Allen. I'm going Keenan Allen there because there's going to be consistency. In best ball, Tillman. Any sort of drafting, dynasty, redraft, boom, Keenan Allen. And also Keenan Allen. Is that his like arch nemesis? Like he just misspelled the last name and Jamie's going to try and play games. He's got to spell stuff correctly. Here we go.
Can't misspell with the teacher in the room.
No, not at all. Go for it, Michael.
RB5 tier. Talked about him already. Got to talk about him again. Quinshon Judkins. RB50. Now, we thought that 36 to 61 for White was a big range. We're going to go a little larger than that. 36 to 64.
36.
That is absolutely nuts. We have him at 46. Not as quite as high as some places have him, but he's as high as 36. Yahoo's the one that has him absolute lowest at 64. But that is outrageous for a guy that might be in trouble. A rookie that's technically not the starter. Don't get me wrong, he's going to take over the starting spot eventually. I don't know how far into the season. We talked about it last week. Jerome Ford cracked 100 carries last year, 200 the year before. So he lost half of his carries last year. And then Samson, does he start seeing more snaps than Ford? So does he become rookies 1 and 2 there? And then all of a sudden now, what happens with Judkins? Is he safe from being in trouble? Is he going to play? And if he does, at this point, everybody thinks that he is going to be a boomer bust. If you're going as high as 36 and as low as 64, that's boomer bust section. Unfortunately, I mean, in Dynasty, I think you grab him and you go for it. But if you're just doing redraft, it's going to be really hard to try to grab him earlier than that. 50 really, in my opinion, is probably the shot you take.
Yeah, I think just like we were talking about earlier with Jameson Williams, I think it comes down to your draft build. If you're coming out of the 1-2 turn with, let's say an Ashton Genty and a Devon Achane, like, okay, I'll might draft Judkins a little higher because I know I have 2 starters right there. I'm also not going to make him be my running back 3. He'll be my 4, 5. I will have an established running back room ahead of him. But if these allegations aren't as true as seen or anything like that, if the legal situation clears out and we can see the talent come through and a clear conscious of him being a reasonable human being, more importantly, for me at least, then yeah, Quinshon Judkins could be a later dart throw, mid-round later dart throw that could seal the deal for you. Okay, we've got a little cool down section for you. We're not going to do a whole lot of explaining on this, but we're just going to do quickly, based off of our positions, who is your favorite player on consensus rankings this week? And who is the least favorite player on that? I'm going to go. Oh, you go for it, Michael.
Sounds good. My favorite, and I'm going to keep this one real simple on why. Bijan Robinson, number one. I have him in our work league auction draft. I was able to grab him, so I'm going with him as my favorite because I was able to get him in an auction draft, and that's my one running back that I was able to make sure I got.
Okay, my favorite consensus ranking is wide receiver 29. Tet Ariola. I can't ever say it. I need to practice it. Say it correctly. Everybody deserves to have their name said correctly. I will learn it. The new rookie wide receiver for the Carolina Panthers, McMillan. Wide receiver 29. We talked about it at the beginning of last week's episode. Take a listen to that. Who's your least favorite? Based off
least favorite is going to
rankings.
Least favorite is going to be a guy we've already talked about twice, maybe even 3 times already today alone, and that's Judkins again. And that's just mainly because it's all over the place. Like, I understand everybody has different opinions, but how can you be about a 28 range difference with each other? Like, we need to dial that in somehow.
Yeah, I agree. Mine is going to be Tyreek Hill. I don't like that his range is 5. He's ranked wide receiver 12 through 17. I think he's a lot more volatile than that. He's crossed over 30. We don't know what he's capable of. He was just talking about 6 months ago that he didn't want to be on this team. And all of a sudden it's all fixed. No. He's much more of a diva than that. And if I'm looking at JSN, Garrett Wilson, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm taking all of them above Tyreek Hill. I do not like him at wide receiver 14. I will let somebody else run away with Tyreek Hill. And if I'm wrong, let him burn me. Okay.
Yeah, I like it.
Yes. Well, look at that. It is exactly 8 o'clock. We timed that very well. Love it. So you can go ahead and follow us on social medias at our handles listed. That's weird to do this right there. I'm on Blue Sky and Twitter. What about yourself, Michael?
Same. You can find me on Blue Sky and Twitter, both of them at MP Flores 90.
Beautiful. And we got the Jamie stamp of approval. So I appreciate it, Jamie. Thank you so much for watching, for listening, for turning our voices on ×2 speed on your podcast so then you can listen, whatever it is. Thank you again for watching, and you all have a wonderful evening. See you out next week.
See you guys.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe wherever you watch or listen to podcasts. We'll be back next week for more ways to win your league.